Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
You are listening to Scream with Ryan C. Showers, the podcast for Scream fans just like you. Join Ryan every week as he takes a deep dive into the horror film series that defined the 90s and redefined the genre. Scream with Ryan C. Showers is your source for scene and quote analysis, character dissections, and the latest news about upcoming installments of the Scary Movie franchise.
I hear you like horror movies, Kirby, but do you like them as much as him?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scream with Ryan C. Showers. I'm your host, Ryan C. Showers. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. Before we get started with the show, I need to thank the producers of Scream with Ryan C. Showers, TJ Jones, who does all of the graphic design work for the episode title cards, and Ashley Summers, who helps me manage the show in various ways, including our Scream Game of the Week every Wednesday on Instagram, and the frequent Taylor Swift Song of the Day. If you haven't subscribed on Patreon, I'm Scream with RCS. This show is brought to you by Patreon support, and I greatly appreciate everyone who subscribes. If you would like to be a guest on the show, either in our monthly group Zoom episodes or smaller group or one-on-one discussions with me, head on over to Patreon and subscribe. The Patreon also includes social media communities, particular on Instagram. That is the hub of the Patreon and the podcast. In addition, you get the monthly audio commentary. So every month I record an audio commentary that is for subscribers only. Right now, we are going to be working through the 4 Scream films directed by Wes Craven. So please subscribe to the Patreon and check out the audio commentaries. One of the best things about the podcast are the spec scripts written by Joey Valisi, LA Times bestselling writer of It Came From the Closet, Queer Reflections on Horror. He wrote a first script in Scream 7, which was released way back in 2023. It's episode 112. It imagines the ending of the Carpenter sister storyline and also recenters the focus on Sydney. Then episode 155 is Screams, which is a Gale Weathers-centric script that also features Sydney and Kirby. We are coming to you with the final script written by Joey Valisi, the final Scream, which is going to premiere on this podcast on December 19th. It imagines what conclusion to this little trilogy of ours would be if we focused on Sydney's family, say Sydney and Mark Kincaid. In the real Scream 7, she is married to Mark Evans, but in our script, she is still married to Mark Kincaid. So everyone, please tune in. A final girl for the final time. It's the final Scream written by Joe Valisi, premiering December 19th on this podcast. The script will be available on Patreon for subscribers tier 2 and above. Lastly, I need to thank everyone who is subscribed at Patreon at the Daddy Ghostface or Stab Investor tier. My mama at Ghostface is Carrie Tenney, and my daddy Ghostfaces are Corey Wilson and Brett Janovich. My Stab investors include Kevin Abner, Ali, Roy Garza, Josh Carr, Amar Karim, P.W05, aka Philip Douglas, Gustavo Mora, Mark Vieira, Joey Nabrini, aka The Vault, David D, Scream Queens podcast, both Justine and Josh, Jess Mariano, Sam Levy, Tamika Jones, Josh Calamari, and Andrew Dominguez. Thank you guys so much. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scream with Ryan C. Showers. I'm your host, Ryan C. Showers. So about 15 seconds ago, when I went to hit record, I said to Ash, I said, "You ready?" And she said, "Yep." We're both like now just giggling. So everybody, please welcome my co-host and producer, Ashley from Scroll and Spud. Hey, Ash.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Ryan. I am very excited, apparently.
That is self-evident, Ash. But welcome. So
Hello.
we are coming to you for a specific occasion today. We are coming to you to wish Taylor Allison Swift a happy birthday. Today is the day before her birthday. We have a very cool Scream times Taylor Ghostface topic for you. And then we're going to just talk about Taylor and give her kind of like the ultimate thing. So, Ashley, Taylor's birthday. This is actually the second birthday episode we've done for Taylor. So we did one last year. And, so just to remind everybody, this was a really good episode. If you guys are so compelled to go back and listen, we did an episode where we took like the 11 eras at that time, like the 11 albums, and assigned a character in each of the 6 Scream movies to each era. So like, there were, 11 characters in Scream 1, 11 characters in Scream 2, etc. And this was like a really dense episode. I think even for non-Swifties, I feel like you could get so much of just like the characters in Scream based off what we were saying and how we were describing them applied to each of the eras. So I loved that episode, Ash.
So much fun with that. I remember like working on it and trying to match people together or with different eras and how it would work. And it was just so fun. I honestly had a blast trying to like pair people up. And I I think it turned out really well, and I kind of want to go back and listen to it and see if I agree and think like who would be our showgirl
I
now.
know. Last year for the birthday episode, I feel like in retrospect, that was almost like the warm up, the audition, or like the interview, like the job interview. I feel like for like getting us to do a Taylor segment on every episode.
I've had so much fun doing them. I feel like I've like learned more about the songs, and I've had people reach out to me and be like, "Oh, you covered my favorite song today," and that just like always makes my day.
But, it's like, too, the fact that, like, it's not just Taylor that we're getting. It's not just the songs, too. We're bringing more out of Scream, and that's kind of the beauty of doing the songs with Scream. And, like, that episode that I referenced from last year, like, so much Scream came out of that, So I love doing this. It's also fun. A lot of podcasts do kind of something, like, off the beaten path at the end of their show or at the beginning of their show to kind of warm up before getting into the main topic. And I think it's just a nice addition to the show. And you know what? Taylor Swift is on the Mount Rushmore of Scream and Scream with Ryan C. Showers, for lack of a better phrase. So her portrait's on the mantle. So get used to it. So Ashley, the main topic for today, before like we are going to after we get through the main topic, which is a Taylor times Scream topic, we're gonna deep dive more into Taylor. There's like three little discussions I want to have about her to help celebrate her birthday. So, but we're gonna do the Scream stuff first, just so that we can satisfy the integrity of the podcast and the Scream people who are listening who don't know the deep weeds of the differences between folklore and evermore. So the topic for today was actually something that Ashley created. She had this idea after the release of The Life of a Showgirl. She matched each of the 12 songs to each of the 12 Ghostface killers. And so we can only do this topic right now because come February, we're going to have more than 12 Ghostface killers, whether that's 13, 14, 15, 20, whatever, we don't know. But, so it's just so fun and cool that both right now that there was 12 songs on Taylor's latest album and that there are 12 Ghostface killers out in the universe. And Ashley made this really cool Instagram game for our game of the week. And it was like, pick, based on your favorite killer, pick the song. So we're going to be doing that. I actually think that she did a really wonderful job matching up each of the killers to each of the songs. So Ash, anything you want to share about like the inspiration behind this before we start matching up?
As soon as I saw that there was 12 tracks and heard that we weren't getting any more, I was like, 12 tracks, 12 killers. I need to do this. Like, I just feel like Scream and Taylor live in my brain so strongly that it immediately happened. And I went through and paired them all together with just like kind of like my instant thought. And then I moved a couple around, but for the most part, like that instant like gut feeling kind of just like went with them all. And I personally really like the matchups. I've seen a lot of people like or message me being like, "Oh, that's just so fun," or tell me like they like explored a new song because of it. So that made me really happy. And obviously, like this is just for fun and silliness. So like if you would pair someone else with a different song, please let me know and like let me know why, because it's all in good fun. And honestly, I love it.
Yeah, it is all a good fun. But again, I think it's so interesting. Like, if you know the songs, or if you've heard them at least once, you kind of, you'll be able to appreciate this. And if you haven't heard The Life of the Showgirl, like, what are you doing? Go and listen to it. It's 41 minutes. Like, it's nothing. It's like less than an episode of TV. So, okay. So starting off strong with the song of the year. Let's be real. The Fate of Ophelia, which is a record-breaking song for Taylor. We matched that with Roman Bridger, my guy. So how about you go first, and then I'll chime in because I have notes here.
Yeah, for Roman, I kind of like for me, I kind of thought of it in two ways. Either what I imagine the vibe of like that killer is, or what song they would like most on the album. I kind of like went through it two different ways. And I imagine him liking this song and like dancing to it while like setting up like all of like the mansion and just like having a good fun. And then the whole idea of fate and what his fate was. And he like I imagine him being like really warping this song of what it's like meant to be to like making it his own and being like, yeah, like this is my fate. I am gonna like take what's mine and what I deserve. And just like I feel like he would warp what her meaning is of this song and just make it about how like his fate was not what he wanted it to be, and him being like, yeah, I am like Ophelia, and being like, you're literally attacking a girl, and so it has nothing to do with it.
Your sister.
And like killing random actors.
It sounds
Like it's
so
like that.
unhinged.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, this song is, like, so fun, and I think he is and, like, I feel like it's really smart. There's a lot of really interesting metaphors and references to Shakespeare and all of these, past, like, famous writers, and I feel like he would be somebody who if somebody misquoted something from Shakespeare, he'd be like, "Actually, that is from Romeo and Juliet. It's not from this." And he'd be like, "Oh, okay. So sorry, dude. Calm down."
Well, so and also like there's so many lines in this song. Whenever I actually listened to the full album this morning, imagining the Killers with each song, and this is perfect. So basically, like the whole thing of the song is like Taylor sings about being alone in her tower. The only one person possesses the key, and this person could save her heart from this certain fate of sadness. And I think that Roman deeply wanted to be found and deeply wanted to be saved by his family, Sydney and Maureen, and he really wasn't able to do that. Or even be saved by his career by making Stab 3 in this really spectacular way and kind of get this fame. And I will say, I do think that Sydney, so at the end of the song, the song ends with like this very slow, almost quiet, ending of Taylor saying, "You saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia." And I feel like whenever I listened to that today, I felt like I was watching Sydney hold his hand. Like in that moment when Sydney holds his hand, she does kind of save his heart by holding his hand. I don't know. Crazy?
Makes complete sense. Sydney is such a person who has such empathy and compassion for people that I think she probably does like, she's like, yearning to be like, I wish this was so different. Like, why did you do this? Like, we could have had something special.
Well, the handhold is so complex, and I think that there's so many different ways to read it. But like, anyways, regardless, like I think it fits well. So okay, so the next one up is Billy Loomis. You picked for Elizabeth Taylor, so why don't you tell everybody why you picked that?
I just imagine Billy thinking he is the Elizabeth Taylor of Killer. He is like, hey guys, look what I did. Wow. I am going to be famous. Like, people are going to remember my name. And also, there's this, like, I cry my eyes, like, Violet. Like, I imagine him, like, is such like a woe is me type of guy that literally his dad doing something wrong or like what we're imagining is wrong. I mean, it is wrong to cheat on your wife. I don't know. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt here. Like to cheat, like, and somehow Billy is making that Sydney's fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What? And he's one of those people. He's like one of those guys that would be like, yeah, this epidemic of like male loneliness is really hard for me. You know what I mean? And he would be like he'd be like listening to all of the podcasts that talk about how like, and he would be like joining the groups being like, men have it so much harder than every woman on the planet. And he would just be like, I don't know. I just imagine him being such like I cry my eyes violet and you know what I mean? I just imagine him being like such like again, warping the song to be something that it's completely not. And again, I just imagine this song being his favorite.
Yeah. Well, no, I think that you're on to like the diva aspect of Billy. I think the diva aspect is like underrated. It's underappreciated. I think Billy is into his own ego, and especially I think Billy would be into the way that like other killers talk about him, and the fact that even Sam sees him in his visions. He would love that. He'd be like, "Ooh, look how important I was," and that's very Elizabeth Taylor, But she deserves it, right? So, but like the whole premise of Elizabeth Taylor, and like Ashley and I did a whole episode on Elizabeth Taylor and Gale Weathers a couple of weeks ago. So it's so funny to see like this like through line between Gale Weathers and Billy Loomis through the song of Elizabeth Taylor. But the whole premise of the song is like she's singing to Elizabeth Taylor, or she's asking Elizabeth Taylor a question like, will I be abandoned? Will this guy who I'm really loving right now, will he leave me just like everybody else? Because Elizabeth Taylor has, gone through many husbands. Like that's the whole premise. So I think that like this goes into Billy's motive and like this question, like, will he be abandoned this time? Will he be abandoned again? Like his mom left him. I think that he's worried about people leaving. So he cries his eyes violet because he's a dramatic bitch, but also he, I think there's like an aspect of like worried about people leaving him. So yeah.
I agree.
All right. This next one, Ashley, when I started listening to Opalite this morning, I kind of laughed out loud trying to imagine who we matched up because it is so perfect. So we picked Richie Kirsch for Opalite. So Ash, why did you pick Richie Kirsch for Opalite?
To be honest, this one was just one that I immediately paired up, and I don't even know if I fully know why. I think it's just when that's just like I imagine him singing that. Like I imagine him singing it while driving. I imagine him singing it while like opening up his like his like pizza box. And then like there's just like little moments that it's like you had to make your own sunshine and like you had to do all of these things. And I just feel like he really thought he was doing it. And he was like, I am gonna take what's mine and I am gonna do this and I'm gonna change my life for the better and go from darkness to opalite. And honestly, I feel like you have a better idea of why it should be him than me. I literally just imagine him like tapping his foot
Yeah.
to this song.
Well, so Jess, our friend Jess Melendez and I just did an episode about like our fears for Scream 7, like what could go wrong. And I kind of raged about I don't find Richie to be scary in the slightest bit. I think that's a problem whenever you're supposed to be a villain in a horror movie. I almost find him like he's so comedic, so jolly-ish, but it's, all through the lens of being kind of like this beta male. And so I find him so not scary. I find him to be more fun, and this is the most fun song. Like this song, like the whole thing about this song is about the optimism and the joy and like just the vibe, the bouncy vibe that you kind of just described, like him like bouncing around listening to the song. That is his personality. That's his sense of humor. That's what comes out whenever he's talking to Sam. Even in the finale, like there's nothing about him that's deep, that's super dark, and I just think that like that reflects in the song. So I can just picture like Jack Quaid's smile, like the goofy smile, like within this song. I don't know.
That's funny because I find him way scarier than some of the other. I feel like being able to be that fucked up and still be smiling and being like, yeah, like
Okay.
there's like this like everyman quality about him. Like Billy and Stu, yeah, I could see that you were killers from a mile away. Like Charlie, yeah, get me the fuck away from him. But I could see myself liking Richie. Like I could see myself being a little like him being able to pull the wool over my eyes. Maybe that's because I think Jack Quaid's hot. But
He is.
but there's something about him that made me be like, I don't know if I would have recognized the devilishness in him immediately. And I think that's why he scares me. But I also completely agree that there is this like jolliness about him that totally, it just like matches up with Opalite so well because like, don't you just like picture him like moving his shoulders while he's like driving the car? Like, and Sam is in the thing and he's like, ha, she doesn't know. I'm trying to kill her later. And he's like dancing to Opalite. Like, there's something like joyful sounds like the wrong word because joyful is supposed to be positive, but he's joyful in his own mind of like this warped delusion that he has. Like his delusion is causing this joyfulness in him. And when I thought of that one, it was just making me giggle imagining his like, or like dancing at the bowling alley. Like that's what I pictured.
No, it's going to be hard for me to now watch Scream 5 and watch Richie without thinking about Opalite and without and without the jingle, right? I just of the song and like matching the jingle of the character. So I think it was so perfect. Whenever I started playing and I was like thinking about Richie, I was literally laughing like as I was walking this morning, listening to the song. So 100%. Okay. Next up, Ashley and I kind of strategized about this. I think we even mentioned it. So like Elizabeth Taylor, like The Fate of Ophelia, we did an episode about the song Father Figure. And this one, I'm specifically proud of this episode. This was such a good episode. And a lot of people I got some really nice feedback from it. I don't know if I told you, but people loved it. But Father Figure is my favorite song of the life of Showgirl. It's Ashley's favorite song. And it's this big song about like guidance, like an older person kind of guiding a younger person, and like the partnership that's there, and then like what happens when there is betrayal, and like who is really in charge and who really has the power. And we actually there was only one person who could be the father figure here. So Ashley, who did we pick for father figure?
Nancy, Mrs. Loomis. I remember you had suggested someone else, and I just
did.
replied. I had just replied no.
Well,
which is not like me. I'm usually like, well, maybe. Like I always like am someone who's like usually like, well, I see where you're going for that, but I kind of was thinking this, and I was just like, no.
I was doing it to be funny because I suggested Detective Bailey because I think Dermot Mulroney is hot.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But
I was like, no man is going to be father figure on my list when there's Debbie Salt, Mrs. Loomis. I just think it's perfect with her manipulation of Mickey and really being, I think she's quite smart. And I also think like her motive like probably makes the most sense for why she's doing. So I think there's a lot of motivation in the song Father Figure. And I don't know, Mickey seems like somebody who might have daddy issues or mommy issues. So I feel like having this parental person, this older person helping guide him just makes complete sense. And then that act of betrayal, which, spoiler alert, there is a little bit of betrayal between those two. And I just think it makes perfect sense. And also because she is coming from a place of a parent, I think using a song father figure. And also I think it makes sense. She could be singing it to Billy too. Like, you're like, yeah, your dad sucks, but like, I'll be your father figure. Like, I'll be this person for you. And it's probably one of my favorite pairings. I just like, I think she would be like, yeah, my dick is bigger.
Her dick is bigger. And like, here's the thing about this choice is like Debbie Salt's motive. Like, she could have easily, if she would have like stopped wasting so much time with like monologuing to Sydney, she could have easily skipped out of there and she could have vanished and nobody would know who she was, that she was even there. And Mickey could have taken the fall. I think that she is the most plausible plan to get out of the situation. I think that there is something about her that is extremely smart, extremely well thought out. And she played Mickey. You know, that's the thing, is that like there is a betrayal there. And it's interesting because the father figure song and the twist in the song can be read in so many different ways about who is really singing in the last third of the song. Is it the father figure or is it the ingenue? And in this version, I guess it would be the father figure kind of singing to the ingenue. Like you could see the father figure song like the father figure got rid of or had the ingenue assassinated, and that's kind of what she does to him. So it's perfect. Everything you said times 10. Mickey and Mrs. Loomis having this parental kind of relationship. This will tie in later when we get to Mickey's song too. But yeah, everything you said, I co-sign. So beautiful pick, Ash. And for the record, you know, Detective Bailey could not be this song. He does not have the skill, the smarts, or the control over the situation. But Detective Bailey is still daddy in some way. Okay, so the next one, people's hatred of the eldest daughter song, it doesn't make sense to me. I really like eldest daughter, but anyways, just a side note. But regardless, who did we pick for eldest daughter?
Speaking of like killers that get a little bit more hate than I think they deserve, is Quinn Bailey.
Yeah.
I remember like answering, somebody was like, out of all the killers, who would you want to hang out with the most? And I was like, oh, Quinn. And people were like, I thought I was joking. And I was like, no, seriously, like think about it. Like she seems like she'd be fun to party with. Like compared to a lot of the other ones who I think are just like so self-absorbed. Like I feel like, you know, like she might hook you up with a guy, she might hook up with you, like whatever you want. But for me, I picked her because just like the term eldest daughter, and like the song is really about being like, there is this connection about siblings in it. And I personally can't imagine Quinn being a murderer if she wasn't doing it in vengeance for her brother. I don't think we know enough about her to fully answer that question. So I feel like no. And also, I imagine Quinn's the type of girl who would get high in the middle of like a meadow and then just like dance to this song. And like, especially the bridge, I just imagined her like with like a flowy, like a shirt with like some flowy arms on it, just like spinning and like blowing bubbles. But then at the same time, like yelling at a guy who's like doing nothing. Like he's just like also like walking by, just, hey, what are you doing here? Like there's something about like having this like toughness, and like I imagine her listening to this being like, yeah, like I'm not a bad bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't savage what I'm doing. Like her manipulating what she's doing in honor of her brother isn't bad of what she's doing, when really, no, you're being a bitch. It's bad. And what you're doing is really fucked up. And kind of like, again, I'm going to say it over and over again, manipulating like the meaning of this song. And I just like take the sibling connection. And I do like the idea of, she is personally my favorite killer out of all of them in six. I think like she's a little bit more fun. I enjoy her character more than the other ones. And so, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, so I actually will give you a lot of credit here. I actually could see both you and me, like as independent people, being friends with Quinn. I think of all the killers, I could probably see us being friends with her the most easily, because you're right. You know, maybe she isn't like horrible outside of the act of killing people because of her brother, but like her personality is a bit more humble, a bit more thoughtful, you know. But I think that you're right though about everything that you said. I completely agree. But also, like, speaking of the bad bitch and the savage, like the whole point of like Taylor using those words is there's such a level of irony. Like she's making fun of the culture of like that vocabulary and like this posing, pretending to be cool and apathetic. And I think that Quinn is all too well familiar of like pretending things and knowing when things aren't true. I mean, like literally, she makes up all of those rumors about Sam, knowing that they're not really that true, right? And like spreading all the misinformation online. So I think that like that is, I think that that's a real substantive connection between Quinn and this song. And also, I think it also just fits. Like, I can't imagine any other character fitting so naturally with the song just because of like the like the teenage girl aspect of it. Like there's something very youthful about this song, and you times that by daughter, sister, it has to be Quinn. So I think that it was perfect. And justice for Quinn. She is by far the best Scream 6 killer. I also think that she would be nice, like you're saying. I think she would actually be kind of fun to talk to and hang out with. I think she'd be kind of a nice person to be friends with.
Yeah, like I don't imagine her like yelling at her barista if her drink is made wrong. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe she would, but I just imagine her like being pretty like just chill. If she's in your orbit, you're not noticing too much about her.
All right, so next one. I know, I'm sorry, but and the thing is, like, okay, so the next person we're doing is Charlie Walker, who is infamously Ashley's like mortal enemy when it comes to Scream characters. And unfortunately, though, this song that is track 6, it lines up perfectly with him and what happens with him in Scream 4. So it's a really brilliant move to make him this song. So Ashley, what song did you pick for Charlie Walker?
It's painful, but it makes perfect sense. I went with Ruin the Friendship, which honestly, if he had just taken the advice from the song, Scream 4 would have been, he probably wouldn't be dead. And I think one of the reasons why I don't like Charlie so much is because I find him so plausible. Like I imagine there are those guys who get rejected and they get so mad that they behave so terribly. And like it's like he didn't even try with Kirby and then was mad that she didn't like him. And then as soon as like they started having a conversation and like the same things, she was like, "What's this guy about?" And then he's like, "You notice me now?" It's like no matter what you wanted, like you're not gonna get it. And also, like I'm a huge Scream 4 fan, so for me, not like Charlie, but it's an amazing performance. And like I don't think you can dislike a character so much if somebody doesn't do well at like that performance. You know what I mean? But Ruin the Friendship just fits so perfectly because it felt like he was friend zoned and he didn't like it, so he did what he wanted. And then there is a twist at the end of the song about death, and it's like, y'all got fucked over.
Well, and the twist is so funny because there was also a twist in this story of Charlie and Kirby, right? Because Kirby was thought to have been dead or died at the hands of Charlie, and it's just so ironic that she gets to live. That it was revealed, all these years later that she was in fact alive the whole time. So it's just interesting. But no, you said it perfectly. Like the whole feat of Charlie is that Kirby isn't really showing him attention, or she's flirting with him in a non-serious way, and then it gets taken to this place, and he never really gets to fulfill his full feelings with her, and that's tied in with his murderous instincts, whatever. But no, the song lines up perfectly with Charlie Walker, and like I actually feel like I fully understand why you dislike him now, is because you're right. Even Kirby within their scene, right? She's the one who pushes for them to kind of make out and stuff, and he is playing it. He's being the savage. He's being the bad bitch. He's playing it cool. So even then, it's just like, dude, what do you want? You need to take some action and initiative here. And I mean, and that is like literally what Taylor is saying with the entire song. Is like, hey, you need to, if you like somebody, tell them. Don't be the bad bitch. Okay. All right. Next up, we have Actually Romantic. So Ashley, who did we pick for Actually Romantic?
Actually romantic, we have oh my god, Detective Bailey. And I imagine almost like he was in a music video and Sam was singing this song, and we see all of these things that he's doing, thinking he's so macho and cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the idea of a big burly man being called a toy chihuahua. And it's like all of this shit that you're doing is so minuscule in my life of like what I've been through. And it's just kind of silly. And again, I think he would like this song. And I also imagine him being a romantic.
Yeah, I could too.
I imagine him romanticizing things. I imagine if you went on a date with him, like a first date, he brings you flowers. He's paying for the bill. He's one of those guys who wants to impress you, no matter what those intentions are and if they're good or bad. I imagine him either faking romance or being genuinely romantic.
Well, once I go on my date with Detective Bailey, I will let you know how it goes and confirm or deny all of those. That list, that laundry list that Ashley just gave us. I like this pick too, for that reason, because I mean, like, there's the moment in Scream 6 where Sam, it's probably the best moment Sam has in Scream 6, I think, where she kind of really gets to troll him. The whole song is a trolling song. It's kind of like, there people have gotten really triggered by this song as a hate song, as a diss song, but I see it more just as trolling. And there is a difference, I think. Trolling is whenever like you're not actually bothered by something, but it bothers them, for you to talk. And I think that's what Sam is doing here. It's what Sam does to Detective Bailey before the finale really gets going, where she says, your son was so pathetic. He was a limp dick little fuck who let his girlfriend do all the killing. That's kind of like what Taylor is doing in the song to the apple of the eye of who the song is about.
Completely agree. And also, like, this song has a lot of hate to it. Same with Detective Bailey. So, and also personally, as somebody who you have called not petty, but when I do want to be petty, the way that I would be petty is like like if somebody wanted me to be like, you have to write a diss song. I would never actually write out a song literally insulting the person and doing it, because to me that's easy. They're probably thinking all of those faults in their own head. So like, why do I need to tell them about it? I'm going to tell them that I don't even give a fuck, that I'm not bothered by anything that they do, and I honestly think it's kind of cute.
It's right. Exactly. That's the whole point of what she's doing here. She's kind of saying, "You're so upset. Look how cute that is. Oh, thank you."
It's almost being like, I'm embarrassed by how upset you are. Like,
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed for you. Like, to me, it's calling somebody cringe, and people might call that song cringe. Sure, maybe it is to you, but I honestly think it's cringier to write an entire song about all of somebody's faults. But
Yeah. Well, and also I feel like the line at the end of Actually Romantic, that it's like I actually have a screenshot of this in my phone saved as a reaction for moments like this that we're talking about. And Taylor sings, "It's kind of making me wet." I feel like you could have put that in the Scream 6 script and had Sam say it, whatever, in that monologue to him, and it would fit. It would fit, I could just picture it. So I just want to give a slight shout out here, because I think Ashley made amazing picks, but I just want to shout out Amber, because I could see Amber being this song too, just because like she is, so the whole, like the big thing about the song is Taylor is kind of calling her hater a toy chihuahua, barking at her from a tiny purse. And like I see Amber as kind of a little mini chihuahua in a purse barking when she's doing the eat eat eat. I see her as a little chihuahua. I don't know. So
no, totally. It's I feel pretty like confident in all of the picks that we have, but that is one where I'm like, oh, I could see it going, like those songs going for Amber too. But I think for me is I imagine Amber not liking Actually Romantic, which also could be another reason why we would give it to her. But I also like don't imagine her being someone who shows romance in like the clever type in that type of way. So that's why like for Bailey like went a bit higher for me, I think. But I completely agree that it could have been Amber.
okay, well, I just wanted to give that little shot, because I was listening this morning and I was like, well, I can't unsee this image of Amber
Yeah, like her just being like,
with the fucking hand sanitizer. Like that is the spirit of this song. Okay. So next up we have Ethan, my fave, my version of Char. So what song did we pick for Ethan?
for sweet, sweet Ethan, we have Wish List. And this song was one of the ones where I was like, oh, who am I going to pick for that? And was it that Ethan was the only one? Yes. But at the same time, I think he is one of the only killers that would be dreaming about a driveway with a basketball hoop. Like, I imagine him, like, I imagine him thinking more like, I hope they get what I want. I hope I get what I want. But it's more like, I hope you get what you deserve. I hope I get what I want. And I do imagine him being one of those guys that like was like, I want two kids and I want a wife and like a house with a picket fence, and like he wants to live in Pleasantville, and him taking this song and not really understanding the full meaning of it, I say again. And but yeah, I was like, who would want a basketball hoop? Maybe Ethan. That's really that's as kind of as deep as it goes, which is as deep as his character is. And maybe we can give him his wish list of a econ textbook.
Well, no, I actually think that it's a good pick, just because he sees the things that Taylor wants and that she's singing about, not like the material things, but like the idea of like the romance, the happy ending, the kids, the family, the things that quote matter. But the thing is, they're so out of reach for him because he's kind of an incel. He doesn't know how to talk to women. He doesn't know how to express himself or actually be a part and like commingle into the group in society. That's the irony of his character, is that like I think that he wants these things, and we hear it as much when he says, "I always wanted to stick something in you, Tara," like gross. But they're so out of reach for him because of who he is, you know? So I think that it's actually a brilliant choice. For the next song, it is track 9, and that is Wood on the Taylor album. And you've probably, there's no way you haven't heard about this song, even if you have never listened to the album, or, you know, you've heard about Wood. It's been everywhere. And for that, who did we pick for Wood?
The only person a song about a dick can be about is Stu Macher, in my opinion. I mean, he's the most fun, and like I imagine him like listening to it and being like, "You guys get it?" and like sticking his tongue out and being like, "Guys, it's a song about a dick." Like, you know what I mean? And then Billy would be like, "Dude,"
Yeah.
and then he'd be like, "Yeah, I like it too," but I just like imagine him. There's not a lot of depth to why I picked this. It's just that I imagine him loving this song and him being giddy about the fact that she wrote a song about her boyfriend's dick.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about it is too, is like, you know, the Travis is a very tall guy, and like we hear in the song New Heights of Manhood. It's like, okay, Matthew Lillard is a very, very tall man. And I know that's a weird connection, but like, just go with me here. So I met Matthew at a convention in March, and I sent I sent the picture to our producer friend TJ, and he said, "Wow, you guys look like you're a couple." And in the picture, because like I don't consider myself short. I think I'm like an average, maybe above average height for a male. But he towers over me, and we do look like a cute couple. It's just like, you know, he's, you know, new heights of manhood, I guess. I don't know.
Oh man.
Well, and like, so I do too. It's fun.
Me being a perv on the pervy song.
Do you remember when we were doing the predictions for the life of a showgirl? And we're like, we got to the title track Wood, and we're like, what if this is about Travis's dick? Hee hee hee. You know. And then
Literally,
it turned
yeah.
out to
I was
be,
like, it could be about wood, or it could be about wood.
and you're like, maybe it's not about anything related to wood. Maybe that's just a misdirection. It's just like, nope, she went there.
Yep, and I love it.
But, you know, here's the thing, too. A big line in the song is, "His love was the key that opened my thighs." And, you know, there is a theory about Billy and Stu being a gay couple, like, you know, or there's gay subtext to them as killers. And, you know, Stu, I think, is probably the most driven by sex of all of the killers. So again, I think it fits because, like, even more so than Billy, because the way I see it is, okay, Stu, if he's sleeping with Billy, there you go. One, check. But also, he's very sexual with Tatum. You know, even like, you know, when they're at the water fountain and it alludes to them having sex, you know, the way that he's always touching her, you know, it's very sensual. And even to Sydney, whenever at the very, very end, his final line, "I always had a thing for you, Sid." Like, he's kind of a woody guy.
Yeah, and he's also like got the Hugh Hefner-esque like a jacket on.
Yeah.
I've always like imagined him as like being this like very like, if he was in like wasn't in the movies, like if his character existed now, he would be like a super sex positive like kind of guy. And I've always kind of imagined him as like being like, I think he genuinely wants to have sex with everybody. Like he's just kind of open and fluid in that way. And like I definitely think he loves Billy in certain ways. But I think like when he picks up Tatum, there's like that part where he picks her up. I don't know. There's just like this part where I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah.
He,
Well, and he picks
I
her
like
up
it.
like right by a tree too. So there you go. There's the wood.
Yeah.
So, and I can also like, so the other thing, like what Taylor, the real meaning of wood, of course, is sex, right? In about Travis's wood, but it's also, but realistically, no, it's about her being happy and showing herself and feeling confident in her relationship and feeling sexually satisfied by her guy. That's a beautiful thing. And I'm glad that she's expressing that. But what she would tell you the song is about in the PG form of it, she would say it's about superstitions. And I could see Stu being superstitious. It even comes out a little bit here and there, like in the finale when he's like doing his one-liners. I don't know. So
Yeah, I imagine like he could have like a really weird like old car, and he's got like a rabbit foot keychain, and like if he broke a mirror he'd be like a little worried.
Well, Matthew Lillard, thank you for letting us objectify you through the song Wood. Thank you for your service. So, next up is the song Cancelled. And now this is a very controversial song for reasons we will get into someday, whenever we cover this song as a song of the week. But who did we pick for Cancelled, Ash?
Beautiful Oscar winner, Amber.
Exactly.
I personally went with this of being like the line, good thing I like my friends canceled because she kills a bunch of her. So she's like, it's like literally, it's like, good thing I like my friends canceled, boom, boom, boom. And also she really is like all about this like crazy fandom and like the
Mm.
like a little bit of cancel culture like wrapped in there. And I imagine her, there's like this almost like, I don't know if the word that I'm looking for is witchcraft, but there's like this like weird vibe and like essence to this song, and like the beat goes a little like almost like, how would you describe that when it goes like it almost sounds like a Disney like sorcerer type. Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't know how to describe it, but I imagine Amber, her soul is a little witchy and a little sorcery and a little spooky girl. I don't know if she would necessarily love this song, but I feel like she'd be like, yeah, I relate.
Well, that first of all, great impression. But second, like, I actually think that like the way, because there is like this kind of like badass type vibe to the song too, in terms also it kind of ties into what you were saying. And I think that like in her mind, so maybe this is the Emperor thing. In her mind, she views herself as like the beat and the vibe of the song. And that's how she thinks that she's coming off to the world. But the reality is she's actually in reality she's actually romantic. So that's just kind of like her mind, the subjective versus the objective. So I like it. So okay, interesting. Next pick for Honey, the song Honey. Who did we pick, Ash?
I picked Mickey, and personally, I love this connection. I don't know what it is, but I just imagine him being like, sorry, I'm giggling, picturing it. I can picture him like, there's like a really cute, I don't know if we know what kind of person he's into, but like I imagine this like college girl sitting on his bed and him like putting his hands like underneath his chin and like on the edge of the bed and being like, you can call me honey if you want, and like winking at her. And like there's a little bit of like cheekiness that's like alluded in the song a little bit. And I don't know, there's just something about him that I also like imagine him calling his like girlfriend sweetheart and honey and stuff like that. And it was really that, I don't know, there's just like this essence of him that even though he's diabolical and like really creepy and manipulative, I do find like there is like this like sweet heart vibe to him. Do you know what I mean? Like this sweetness. And I also can imagine like if you went home to Mickey and you're like, "Oh my god, this stupid bitch said this about my skirt at work or in the bathroom," he'd be like, "What a hoe." And like you don't know, but he's like planning how to kill her, but like you're just kind of venting, being like, "This girl's really mean to me at work," and he's like, "I'm gonna take her out." I just
Well,
I don't know. I just imagine him listening to this song and liking it.
and this kind of dovetails with what we were talking about with Mrs. Loomis, right? Is that if she's the daddy, he's the ingenue. And I think there's a part of Mickey, we don't really know much about his parents, but I get the sense that he has absentee parents, or maybe his parents are dead. Who knows? Maybe he killed them. Who knows? But I think that there's a part of Mickey that wants to be coddled and needs to be loved, that there's something that it's lacking for him. And that's why he goes to Mrs. Loomis, and that's why they're an effective partnership, and why she's able to manipulate him is because she knows that he has this aspect of him that wants to be accepted and loved, so, and taken seriously. And I think that like the bridge, Honey is one of the songs I've grown to really, I mean, I've always liked it, I've always thought it was a strong song, but the bridge where she talks about like being high and calling them in the morning and not really actually seeing and respecting her, and she's of course talking about Maddie and Joe, in the song Taylor is, I feel like Mickey would open up to Mrs. Loomis and tell him about people who have hurt him in the past and why he has the insecurity, that wanting to be loved and wanting that attention.
I completely agree.
So cool. All right. And our last song, the title track of the album. And ironically, I would say that this person is kind of like the title track killer of all of the Ghostface killers. Like there's no one I think that will ever be more epic than Jill Roberts, just by the nature of her and the final act of this movie. So please tell everybody, who is the life of the showgirl?
The only person, in my opinion, and yours, that could ever be connected to this song is Jill Roberts. She thinks she's the main character. She is the main character of everybody's lives, in her opinion. She is, again, spewing what this song is about and just being like, oh my God, this is me, guys. Like, she wants to be in everybody's like she wants to be the showgirl. She hears this song and is like, I want that life. Even though she's talking like in the song, they're talking about a lot of struggles that go with that. Like, I don't give a shit. I want to be on stage. I want everyone to know my name. I want the fame. I want everyone to be envious of me. She wants the infamy that comes with fame. She wants all of it.
Hmm.
And it was the easiest. Definitely, probably like I immediately was like, oh well, Jill. Like
Yeah.
I had no questions about what I thought made sense.
It's so funny because Jill literally, Taylor talks about like the bruises and like the different, like how hard it is to wear certain outfits and like the mood of being a showgirl. Taylor talks about the physical pain of being a showgirl, and Jill literally puts herself through physical pain to become a showgirl. But the whole essence of the song is Taylor, the narrator, is going to see a show of a showgirl whose name is Kitty. And I feel like in Jill's world, Sydney is Kitty. And it's about like this idea of like looking up to an elder and then wanting to become them. And that's literally the thesis of Jill Roberts' entire character.
Very true.
There's also just something so especially theatrical about everything Jill does. She's always performing, you know? So it's just like she is the showgirl. Thank you for giving us this game back in October. Thank you for matching up each of the songs to the Ghostface Killers. Again, like the parallels are so easily here. Like we didn't even have to try that hard. We didn't have to go that deep to match up, the Ghostface Killers with these songs that Taylor wrote for The Life of a Showgirl. So thank you so much for this exercise.
No, I had so much fun. And if you guys have any ideas or what you would place with each character, please let us know. You can go back to the post and check it out or I guess on the episode's post too, and let us know what you would pair up with everybody because I want to know.
Yeah. If we, if there are any alternate suggestions, kind of like I did with Amber, like I think that it's solid, it's solidified the way it is, but there are, other people have different interpretations. Ash, we just spent the last hour talking about The Life of a Showgirl as applied to Scream. It's been 2 months, 2 full months since the album has come out. The dust has settled. We kind of have a real sense of what the album is about, how we feel about it, and I would love to know, like, where do you stand with The Life of a Showgirl now?
I really love this album. I've been listening to it since it came out. Shocker that I like it. I think it's really fun. I enjoy that she's giving us something new because I know some people's criticism were, I guess it's not even criticism. Some people's thoughts were like, oh, they like it better when she's talking kind of like in more of like the red, evermore folklore type of and portrait poet. And I'm like, yeah, but she's happy.
Mm-hmm.
So she's releasing a song about happiness, but also not every song on this album is about being super happy. Like there's some songs on there that aren't being super positive and joyful, but she was experiencing the biggest tour of her life, and she was experiencing heartbreak, but then meeting the person who she's marrying now and coming up meeting new friends and just like discovering like a new part of herself. And I think that's what this album shows is that you can feel like a tortured poet, and then 6 months later you can feel like a showgirl. And I really like that. And I think everybody has a duality in them. Maybe I feel that way because I'm a Gemini, but I think everybody can be everything. And I love having a new perspective from Taylor that's a little bit more joyful because like her last 2 albums were literally like, hey, I want to jump off a tall building. Like let's give the girl the like opportunity to be a little happy.
Yeah. Well, and
I
just
had
for
so much fun
the
with it.
record, like not only the last 2 albums, but like the Torture Poets Department, like the most explicitly sad album she's had recently, Midnights, which is like, pretends to be like this cool, edgy thing, but it's actually a really sad album. It's a pre-breakup album, as Ashley describes it. And you have Folklore and Evermore, which are both, especially Evermore, very, very devastating albums that she says, oh, it was fiction. It wasn't fiction. And then before that, you have Lover, and that's an album that's like about her insecurities in her relationships. She hasn't been happy in a very, very long time in her art. And I think that for that reason, I think people have it. That's why some people are so caught off guard by the album because it's just not the Taylor that we've had for a good 10 years. But at the same time, I think that's a really dumb criticism to have about the album and about her. Like, how dare she be happy? You know what I mean? I don't know. Thoughts?
Yeah, like I've never heard anybody be like Bruno Mars released the song where he's happy. What a dick. You know what I mean? Or Justin Timberlake or whatever Justin Timberlake, but like Harry Styles, like he's allowed to be happy and he's allowed to be sad. And I just feel like we should grant that to all of our artists. And like I'm happy that she's happy. She makes me happy.
Yeah. Well, so, overall, I have to say the way that like sometimes like I kind of like poke fun at Ash because like every time we talk about a specific song or a specific album, she starts out like a prompt. I love this song, and that is how I feel though, genuinely about every single of these 12 songs. Like I was able to just run through those right now. I know them really well. I've listened to them all over and over again. I like them. I think they're all individually really solid. I would give each of those 12 songs anywhere between an A minus, an A, or an A plus, like all 12, and for an entire album to be on that level, in my opinion, that's a pretty fucking cool thing. And, that kind of delivers on what we were promised with it. And that was, Taylor went on the New Heights podcast and she said, I'm delivering 12 bangers. We're doing something different from Tortured Poets. We're going to have it be very concise, which it is 12 songs versus 31 songs. With I think that like increased or intensified production, and I think that reflects in all of the songs on The Life of a Showgirl. The production is so much more varied and so much more upbeat and so much more intense. Even like Eldest Daughter, the production of that song is gorgeous and like something like that just even though it's sad, even though it's more mellow and quiet and piano ballad, it's still a huge production. So I think that like she does achieve that in terms of having a production that is more joyful and lively in every sense of the word. And like I have to say, like I think that she achieves the conciseness too. I think like she really had a point to prove here with people who said, "Oh, Torture Poets Department was too long. She needs to edit." Blah blah blah. She made a really concise, lean album, and I think that she, check 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 check. But the thing about it is, each of these 12 songs, and why it really delivers for me is like each of these songs is another chapter in ongoing storylines of her life. She's talked about cancel culture a million times. She's talked about different romances that she's had. She's talked about like being in the industry and growing into a powerful figure and her masters and yada yada. So I mean, there's a lot going on here just based off of the lore, and I think that she delivers on adding a new chapter into the lore of Taylor Swift. So thoughts, Ash?
I agree with everything you said.
Okay. And I just want to add one last thing about The Life of a Showgirl about, why I think it's a really cool album for her is, I feel like we're seeing her be a little bit more comfortable, a little safer, and allowing new things of her personality to come out. She's kind of she does things in this album that kind of shock us, like actually romantic in like in the way that she kind of directly addresses the diss of it all and how she characterizes the diss, the language that she uses, like I alluded to earlier, is kind of making me wet. The fact that she was so open to talk about like the healthy sex life that she and her fiance have and would. The fact that she says my dick's bigger in father figure, like she's showing new sides of herself, and I think that should be celebrated. And I think that because she's showing new sides of herself, that's also being met with some resistance by people, and for people who don't like those songs, in particular Wood. Like the people's aversion to Wood kind of, it's crazy to me because it's such a bop. I don't know how you can listen to the music of that and think I hate this song. Just have some fun. Why are we pearl clutching like the people like the social conservatives of the 90s? The last thing I want to say here about how the album delivered for me, like I was afraid like when she went on the New Heights podcast that the songs wouldn't have the lyrics or the story that I expect from her, that I want from her. And for me, I actually think she really balances the narrative, the lyrics, the production all really well. The way that people talk about The Life of the Showgirl, they act like it's like 12 songs of like Rebecca Black's song Friday, Friday, gotta get down on Friday. That's what people act like.
Also a banger.
Yeah, which I love that song, but that's how people. But the way that people talk about, oh, her lyrics took such a nosedive. Like I don't think people are actually like looking at it for what it is. I think there's almost like this like. I don't understand the criticism, the continued criticism, and the way that certain content creators like are afraid to speak about it or write it off. Like it just feels like, I don't know, the contempt that people have for the album. It feels so ideologically driven, and the micro attacks are weird. I feel like it's a lot of people who are angry about her wealth or happiness or success, and that's really sad to me. And I think that like you have that times the cultural moment we're in where everything is about the discourse and the rage bait of it all and the discourse machine. It's exhausting. We saw it with The Life of a Showgirl. We saw it with Wicked for Good. And it's going to happen with Scream 7 because anytime you're this big, the discourse machine does its thing, and it's kind of unpleasant. So
Can't we just I think it's okay to let people have fun with what they want to have fun with.
I agree.
And this album is fun to me.
It's very fun. But also deep, and tells us, tells us a lot about her and how happy she is. And I think it's okay to let her. I think some people are also projected a lot onto Taylor instead of just looking at her and seeing her for who she is. And I think that expectation and that projection got clouded here because what the songs that she delivered didn't match up to that for people. So I think that like also having perspective on how you see Taylor versus who she actually is really important. Well, so Ash, now that the dust has settled, where do you put Life of a Showgirl in your ranking? Do you want to read your full ranking now from 1 to 12?
So right now, Life as a Showgirl is kind of in the middle, towards the bottom, I guess, at number 8. I think for me, it's a little hard because, like, I have so many, like, memories wrapped up with albums that mean so much to me, but at the same time, I, like, love this album right now. I was at first I had it a lot higher, and then I was like, "I think that's a little bit because it's so new." So I tried to be like, "Let me, like, really think about this." And, I feel like I honestly don't ever remember what my rankings are, so because I feel like they could change day to day. But, okay, are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
What if what if number 1's different?
I want it. I would love it because my number 1 is different.
My number 1 probably will never be different. My number 1 is 1989. Oh, the shock of everybody who knows my ranking everywhere. And number 2, Evermore, Folklore, Red, Tortured Poets, Nights, Showgirl, Debut, Speak Now, Fearless,
Okay.
Lover.
Nice. Love it. So, as you were saying, I felt like that you kind of did the same thing with Tortured Poets when we did this like ranking thing before, right? I feel like you also kind of had it in the middle, trying to let it materialize into its place for you, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't wanna have, like, too much recency bias of being like, "I love this," but I also don't wanna give it enough credit, like the credit it deserves, like, that's where I kind of have a hard time, and it's funny because there's a lot of things that, like, if you ask me to rank all of these things, I can do it really easily, but Taylor Swift albums, I have a really hard one because there's at least 3 songs on every album that I would be like if they're like, "Oh, you don't get to listen to them if it's not in your top 5 anymore," I'd be like, "Okay, well, shoot me." I mean, not really, but
I was really trying to do what you did in terms of like being responsible about recency bias because I don't want to just be that basic bitch, right? Who just like puts it, at number 1 or number 2 just because. But the thing is, I actually do genuinely love this album. I love listening
Mhm.
to it like all together, like from start to finish. I love that I got to live the era. I respect a lot of the ideas in here. I like everything that I said above. I love all 12 individual songs. I think again, A+ to A-, like that range, every single one. I love it. So right now it started at number 4 for me, but it's settled at number 3. So I'm going to go through my ranking, and there has been a shift because we just left the month of November, and I, of course, like a Coke addict, went through Evermore pretty hard this November. Evermore being the Coke in the situation, not the Charlie XCX Coke, So I'm sorry, I've never done Coke. I'm not friends with Charlie, so okay. So my new ranking is, I can't believe this, is like I've been a Red guy, and I am a Red guy, but like I would say like Red Evermore is like my number 1. But if I have to pick a number 1 right now, I am going with Evermore just because like it speaks to me. I've been obsessed with it. Like it's just like it's something I think about nonstop. I love the storytelling. I think it's her best lyricism. I'm just so enraptured about Evermore. So Evermore right now is sitting at my number 1. Then Red, then number 3 is Life of a Showgirl, then 4 I Tortured Poets Department, which kind of slipped, with the release of Life of a Showgirl. And I don't know if this is just like, well, this will happen now every time she releases a new album. The previous album kind of starts to look a little less shiny, but it is what it is. Number 4 is the Tortured Poets Department. Number 5 is Folklore. 6 is Midnights. 7 is Speak Now. 8 is Fearless, 9 is Lover, 10 is 1989, 11 is Reputation, and 12 is Debut. So I have Rep really low. I never thought Rep would be that low, but it's just, I love every single one of these albums. Like I love the Scream movies, the way I feel about Scream 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is like how I feel about all of, all of these albums. It's crazy. So
it's really hard to pick, and I think another part, like, something that else I was considering is what parts of, like, the Eras Tour was I most excited for when it started,
mhm.
and the way that my whole I got so excited both times I got to go to it when Reputation started, but I don't think I knew how much I loved Reputation until, kind of, like, thinking about that a few days ago, being like, I got so excited. And so I think, and I remember when Reputation came out, it was so much fun. And also, that's for me, Midnights. Midnights was my favorite time to be a Swiftie. It was so much fun. There was so much positivity in like that launch of the new album.
Mm-hmm.
I remember exactly where I was. I almost like hit my face on a coffee table because I got so excited when she announced that Midnights was coming out. And I feel like Midnights might be, in my opinion, based on what I've seen, the most underrated of all of her albums. Because I see every album being number one on people's things. I don't think I've ever seen someone say Midnights is their favorite album out of all of them.
And the crazy thing is, Midnight's went up in my ranking since the last time
Me
we did
too.
this, and like, there's a lot of. I mean, I've always loved the production of it, and I think that it's very cool and trendy and like edgy and like, but also like sweet and mysterious. It's so many things, but I think like the best encapsulation of like why it moved up for me is like it's found in the song "Would've, Could've, Should've." I think there's so many like that's a really deep song, and once you have your moment with it, you can't unsee it, and you see Midnight's completely differently, each of the different songs. And it's just like, I wish it could be higher. Like, I wish it could be number 5 over Folklore. And maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. But like, I kind of feel bad for Speak Now. If Speak Now kind of got the shaft, it used to be my top 5. And then Showgirl came out. And then I've had a renaissance with Midnight's. And Folklore kind of gets the Evermore kind of boost because they're sister albums. So poor Speak Now. But anyways, Midnight's, Ash.
No, I love Minutes, and I mean, I always feel bad for Lover. I'm like, I'm sorry every time. But I think it's because I'm such an anxious person, and I find that album so anxiety driven. Like, I find it so, like, I don't find it as like, I don't know. Maybe it just hits me in a way where I can't listen to it for fun as much as I can other. And also, if I put Lover on and I have to even come close to listening to Soon You'll Get Better, I can't do it. Like, I have people in my life who have cancer right now, and people who I've lost to cancer in the past like year, and I'm like, I can't even come close to even hearing one note of it because it's just too heartbreaking. And I mean, it's beautiful for a song to be so viscerally like affecting somebody. That's amazing. But I know I always feel bad for Lover because I'm like, ugh, you're at the bottom, but you don't deserve it. I'm so sorry. And Lover is also like so beautiful. Like, I love the pinks and the blues and the yellows. Like, it's so cotton candy feeling. Like, I feel like cotton candy is what Lover is like. Like, it's because it's like clouds. You know what I mean?
I feel bad for Debut, which is my bottom. I'm hoping that like once she releases the Taylor's version, the 20th anniversary, which we were kind of promised by her in that letter, I think that maybe I wonder how my impression will change because I haven't had my moment with it. And I think like this is something that Ash and I were talking about recently is like, I think there's so much in Taylor's discography. You can't experience it all at once. And I think certain songs, certain eras, certain albums come to you when you need them. And once you have like a moment where you fully are enveloped by it, fully understand exactly what she was saying in the depth of it. This has happened to me with the song Right Where You Left Me from Evermore this past month. Never really was a fan of that song. It was forgettable for me, and now it's like my second favorite song in Evermore. It's something I listen to every single day. I've understood it in a deeper way, and I need that moment with Debut, and it will come. And the problem is I heard all those songs so much when I was like growing up in junior high, and like I need my moment with it. So
Yeah, I pray to the Taylor Swift gods that you will have your moment with Debut. Like, should have said no, should have gone home, should have thought
yeah.
twice before you let it all go.
Yeah. Girl. Well, and I will tell you, so we have one of my friends, Jacob, his favorite album is Midnights. He is obsessed with Midnights. So I think, there's a Taylor for everybody. So just, I should have given him that shout out earlier. So, okay. Ash, we're going to go through the two sister albums, Folklore and Evermore, and they each have 17 tracks, and they were written and released in the same year, just months apart, which is completely unusual for Taylor Swift. Usually it's like a year to 2 years for an album release, or even 3 years. So in terms of going from one album to the next, and for Folklore and Evermore, she released them very back to back, July and December of the same year. And they're considered sister albums, spiritually linked, etc., etc. They're very similar in the style. Like Folklore was Taylor kind of charting out new territory in her discography in terms of her style, her approach to the art of music making. And then Evermore is kind of an extension of that with a different theme, So anything you want to say about them as sister albums, or if you could better explain what the connection is between them?
I mean, I think you did a great job. I guess the way that I would describe it, this is the lamest thing I've ever said. It makes me think of like, oh my God, it makes me think of like in like Lord of the Rings or like Harry Potter or anything where there's like mystical connections, magical connections Like, I think about how, like, in Harry Potter, like, there's, like, things in the wands and, like, the bad guy in Harry Po I assume everybody knows who Voldemort. Both him and Harry have, like, connecting wands based on, like, what is inside the wands. And, like, there's, like, this spiritual connection, this magical connection between, like, you could take it to Marvel, like, with, like, Infinity Stones and different characters. That's how I think about these 2 albums. It's like they're connected in this magical way, which if you didn't know that they were connected, you might not have any idea, but once you're able to, like, listen to them both and, like, go deep into the connection and find all that magic, it's just so much fun. And yes, I am a nerd and I am proud to be one. But yeah.
So these 2 albums were like marked a huge turning point in her career. I listened to somebody do a TikTok on Evermore, and they talked about how like had Evermore not come out, or had it been like a double album, like with the Tortured Poets Department, that perhaps Taylor wouldn't have had as big of a leap as she did, because like folklore was such a barn shaking moment. And like, in order to keep up that momentum, Evermore kind of really extended that momentum and really solidified her that legitimacy that she had. It wasn't just a one hit wonder. Before then going into the re-record releases and then having that huge moment with Red, of course, and then Midnight's and the Eras Tour. That Evermore was a really necessary part of that journey that isn't just this forgotten, extension of folklore, but that they're two really like matching in a way.
Yeah, I think this album or these 2 albums made people fans of Taylor Swift. Like, they saw a lot more to her than what, quote, unquote, "meets the eye." They saw what all of us who love her, which is that Taylor Swift is a songwriter who sings her own songs. She's not Whitney Houston, and she's not Celine Dion and Beyoncé and all these people who have, like, Cynthia Erivo, who have the vocal range of these amazing singers that are in our lives, and we're blessed to have them. She is somebody who writes stories and puts them to music. And honestly, I think if she never sang a lick of her music, she would still be known as one of the best songwriters. Like, if she only wrote for other people. And there's a lot of songs that are out there that people don't know were written by Taylor Swift too. And I think that Evermore and Folklore really allowed people to think that it was cool to like Taylor Swift, or that they didn't feel uncool to like Taylor Swift. And to be fair, I have never felt cool in my entire life. So liking whatever I like has never been a problem. But I will also say to anybody who needs to hear it, the coolest thing you can ever do is to like whatever you like, because that means you don't care what other people think, which is the coolest thing that you can do.
And like,
But
it's hard, can I just say, like, that's really hard to do. It's really hard to not be affected by other people's point of view, other people's propaganda, but to be really confident in your own perception of things. Like, kind of like going back to the life of a showgirl, seeing the barrage of hatred that album has gotten hasn't affected me zilch, because my relationship with Taylor is like, in her music and how I see her and how I see what she does and how I understand her, it's ironclad. And I don't care what any of the TikTok, YouTube people, what the mean things that they're saying about the album, or how they're trying to rage bait to get views and clicks. Like, I'm confident in my own vision of that, and kind of like what we just did the episode about Scream 3 and 4. Say, with the fate of Ophelia. I think it's so important to have confidence in your truest forms of your own opinions and yourself.
yeah, and I think she's made me feel confident in who I am, because I think if you really look at Taylor, I think she's kind of an obscure little weird nerdy girl who has a lot of confidence. And I don't think that she was the girl who was ever going to be like people are like, "Oh, she can't dance." I'm like, "Yeah, because she's awkward and kind of weird. And why can't that be fun? Like, why can't that be beautiful?" There's criticism that is completely valid, and there's criticism that is put out just to get likes. And this happens every single time Taylor Swift releases an album. It happened with Midnight, it happened with Tortured Poets. The worst I saw was definitely for Reputation and In Between Reputation in 1989, like, to the point where I stopped going on social media and actually had, like, people in my life, like, bully me for it. And I was just like, okay. I was like, "I don't understand why you care what music I'm listening to on my like, giant" oh my god, what are they called? Not an iPhone, iPod, sorry, on my giant iPod that was like a brick. Like, why do you care what I'm listening to? And you know what? I just think that I guess, sorry, we're talking about Evermore and folklore here, and I went on a tangent, and it made you go on a tangent, sorry. But I just feel like these albums allowed people to see what you and I have seen for a long time. And there are what we call the more Swifties, like the folklore Evermore Swifties. Those are the only albums they like, and that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
some of them can be really mean.
Yeah. So because Folklore and Evermore are sister albums, they're constructed in similar ways. They even have like the same collaborators, like who the other artists who are featured, right? So I mean, they're very, very similar in construction. Whatever. So they each have 17 songs. I wanted to do this thing where Ashley and I go through and we pick, like, do we prefer track 1 of Folklore or track 1 of Evermore? Track 7 of Folklore, track 7 of Evermore, just to see. So I have, of course, thought about mine completely in depth, and Ashley is going off the cuff. So,
Yeah. Shocking.
So I've literally been thinking about this for 6 weeks.
As
So
someone who can talk so much without any notes, it's kind of embarrassing.
it's amazing. It's the magic comes up. So, okay, let's do it. All right. So, do we prefer the one from Folklore or Willow from Evermore? Ash?
The one.
Okay. I agree. So, one for Folklore. What?
I just was thinking that you were going to say Willow.
No, I prefer the one. I love the one. Remember, we've done both of them now. We did Willow in March, and then we did the one in the summer. So I really like the one though. So okay, there are like a couple that I'm prepared. I was like tie, but I can't do a tie. So okay, this was one. So Cardigan. So now we're track 2. Cardigan from Folklore or Champagne Problems from Evermore.
Easy. Champagne Problems.
Yeah, me too. I say tie, but no, it's Champagne Problems. Then I listen to it. I'm like, no, okay. Ka-ching, ka-ching. All right. Track 3. Do we want The Last Great American Dynasty from Folklore or Gold Rush from Evermore?
For me, this is easy. The Last
Yeah.
Great American Dynasty.
Me too. It's easily this for me as well. We've done both of these songs as well.
But that will be like people who love Gold Rush. It's like the song The Archer. People who love that song. I mean, I like that song, but I love Champagne Problems.
I actually have the Gold Rush pajamas, the Evermore pajamas, and they're my favorite thing in the world. I've been wearing them for the past month. Next up, track 4, Exile from Folklore or 'Tis the Damn Season from Evermore. This one's hard. So this was a tie. This could have been a tie, but I have a preference.
I'm speechless. My instinct is to say Exile. Yeah, Exile.
Okay. So the first time Ashley and I disagree here, I'm going with 'Tis the Damn Season. It's really tough because I think like you can make a strong case that Exile is the best song on Folklore. And when I was listening to it this morning, I was like, oh my God, this is so great. It's just affecting me in my soul. But 'Tis the Damn Season is like a top 5, maybe even top 3 song for me. It's the big reason why I'm so obsessed with Evermore. So I have to go with 'Tis the Damn Season. So track 5, My Tears Ricochet from Folklore or Tolerate It from Evermore. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna go with My Tears Ricochet. So do you want just for, I guess, so now we've diverged twice. So this is really tough for me because I think Tolerate It is a perfect song, like perfection. I wouldn't change a thing. It's so cold to me. It's so too familiar for me. I feel like I identify with the person too much in the song to be like, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think Tolerated is a song that every single person in the entire world should hear and should know that their love should always be celebrated and not tolerated. And My Tears Ricochet is so phenomenal. I love it so much, but it's just not like Tolerate It literally makes me want to like, it's just so perfect. And I think the during the Eras tour, when she sings that song, it just made me love it so much more.
Yeah. No, her performance of it, I'm surprised she did it on the Eras Tour as a regular part of the set list because it's such a gut-wrenching song, but it's really phenomenal. She gives like an Oscar-winning performance of that. So,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
okay. Here's an interesting one. Mirror Ball from Folklore or No Body, No Crime from Evermore. Ash?
Easiest one so far. Nobody, no crime for me. But
Me too.
that being said, Mirrorball, I think it just clicked for me in the last 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How much I love that song. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful. Like the first time, like it really like, I mean, I've always liked it, but the first time it really clicked for me, I actually started crying in the shower. I had it like just a playlist playing. And then I was like, oh my God, I don't think I like connected to this song as much as I wanted. But as a person who loves mysteries and I don't love murder, but I love murder mysteries. Like my favorite books growing up were Nancy Drew. Like this is Ashley in a song.
Yeah. And we did Nobody No Crime recently for one of the songs of the week. It's a wonderful song. That's my pick too, is Nobody No Crime. I think it's the beat is so catchy. But similarly, I agree. I've had a moment with Mirrorball. I finally understood it. All I do is try, try, try. I was thinking this morning, I was listening to it, I was like, there could be a journey from Mirrorball to Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. The journey of Taylor Swift evolving from Mirrorball to Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. But okay,
I love
cool.
that.
Number 7, okay, we have the song 7 from Folklore versus Happiness from Evermore. Now, this is the easiest one for me so far, but what's your pick?
People are gonna think I'm crazy. I love the song 7. I'm going with 7.
I'm going with Happiness. Happiness, I think, is one of like the greatest songs she's ever written. It's one of the longest songs she's ever written. I find so much. I understand every line of every word she says in the song. It affects me viscerally. So
I relate extremely heavily to the song 7, of having a friend when I was young, not realizing, like as I got older, realizing what maybe they were going through, and not really being able to understand that. And I just love, like, I have a friend, this is a different friend, but I have a friend who we met when she was 3 days old and I was like almost 6 months old. And we've been friends ever since. And every time I hear like the like please like picture me in the trees, like, and just like them talking about like that friendship and like playing pirates and stuff, like that's what I think about when I think of her. And she's my like soulmate. So
oh, well, good. Love it. Well, okay, so now track 8. We have August from Folklore or Dorothea from Evermore. What say you, Ash?
ooh, I feel like we're gonna be on opposite sides here again. I'm Dorothea.
I mean, I would see, like, I love Dorothea. And we just did Tis the Tim season. Love Dorothea, but I do have to pick August.
hmm
I like them both. Just to be fair to Folklore, I guess. Wow. Tell me why you
August
love
was my
Dorothea.
I love Dorothea because I think it's about, but again, like loving your friendships. And I always pictured this song, like I know like what we're supposed to imagine or like what people have connected of like Dorothea and This Is Am season. But I imagine this song being a love song to your best friend, like a girl and a like I imagine she wrote the song about Selena Gomez.
Aw. Aw.
Every time I hear it, it's like her being like, no matter what we go through, like all of like the weird fame and all of the weird stuff, like that's what I picture. And um, obviously, like I'm not famous, but I picture all of my girls and you and all of those people who just like make me feel the best version of myself. And August was my bathroom break song. I mean, I saw it the one time and then I was like, I need to go to the bathroom so bad in when I saw Eras Tour the second time. And I was like, okay, I've seen August, I can go. And not that I don't love it, it's just not as high up for Dorothea as me.
I like it. I'm actually really happy to see the Dorothea honoring here because like some people probably don't like the song and I think it's great. So okay, in August, like we did an episode on August. Let's go listen. Okay, so next up we have This Is Me Trying from Folklore versus Coney Island from Evermore. I know what you're gonna pick because you've inspired me with this song. So take it away. Oh,
I'm
maybe
picking
not.
Coney Island.
Yeah, no, I'm picking Coney Island too. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So Ashley sent me a voice memo in February of 2024 talking about
Jesus.
Coney Island, and I've never been the same since. This song, holy fucking shit! Like the idea of this song is like taking your person for granted for a long time and like going through all these big moments and being focused on other things, thinking that the person will always be there. And then one day they aren't. And the sadness of that, the coldness that you have to live with that. It's so, again, like I have chills just even thinking about it right now.
Yeah, and This Is Me Trying is also a hard song sometimes. Like if you're ever, I think it's a beautiful song. It's a really hard song to listen to and cathartic if you feel like you can relate to it at the moment. That is one of the songs where I'm like, I am so happy to see our girl, I don't know her, to see Taylor feeling happy because that is a song where it is painfully deep and it is clearly she understands that feeling, even if it isn't completely stuff like about her. But Coney Island also, like if you know any history about like her dating history or these like little moments, she references all of these moments, like forgetting to thank what's his tits on what was his name again, oh, the producer, Swedish guy, her boyfriend, the tall one. Oh, he's so forgetful. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to this man. As soon as we stop recording, I'll think about it. But like she forgot to thank him when she won an award, or there's all these moments of her forgetting her partner or her partner forgetting her that she references and throughout the bridge. And I just love it so much, and it's just so beautiful.
Oh
What's his
my
name?
gosh. I don't know. I just had a
Oh, okay, I thought
revelation
you were
about something
Googling it.
else. No, no, I just had a revelation about something else about the next song. So the next tracks, I just realized, holy shit. So we have Illicit Affairs from Folklore or Ivy from Evermore. And I never realized that what track is this? It has to be track. So that's 8, 9, 10. Track 10. They're both affair songs. They're both about cheating, not about breaking your vows to your partner. Holy fucking shit. Mind blown. Taylor Allison Swift,
Okay.
right?
Yep. I'm trying to like think of which one I like better. I think I'm gonna go with Ivy, but I also love Illicit Affairs.
My favorite bridge ever from Taylor Swift is from Illicit Affairs. Don't call me
Yes,
kid, don't
it's
call me
so good.
baby. So, I love the story of it too. You know that I feel like because folklore is and like the whole shtick is that I'm being a storyteller. I feel like this tells such a good story. I can picture everything in my mind. I can picture the emotions and how this person actually feels and how like it starts out as this really heated thing, and each time she has the affair, feels worse and worse, but she can't stop doing it. It's so good. But Ivy is like a fan favorite. Like, so one of my favorite Taylor Swift people and podcasts is called 13 Taylor Swift podcast, and they stan Ivy. So I'm not surprised at all that you picked it. All right. So next up, we have Invisible String from Folklore or Cowboy Like Me from Evermore. What say you?
Ooh, I think I'm gonna be on the wrong side of the Swifties in this one, but Invisible String for me.
Okay. I will probably say Cowboy Like Me. I mean, actually, I'm
Yeah.
not like the biggest fan of Cowboy Like Me in terms of Evermore yet. I haven't had my moment with it yet, but I still like it. So
I love Invisible String and also is used in one of my favorite parts in The Summer I Turned Pretty, which if any of you know, I'm obsessed with it, and
yep.
Conrad Fisher. And I wish he was a person so I could ask him questions. But this song is played in one of my favorite moments, but I think might be one of the sweetest moments of like showing a young relationship and a young couple. And this song just encapsulates that feeling so well. And also, I love how you can almost think about it with like friendships too. Like I think about the invisible string that brought me to you. Like
Yeah.
all of these things had to happen for that to like if I hadn't like discovered Zach Cherry because I was depressed because I lost my job because I got vertigo when I went on a plane to go see Harry Styles. You know what I mean? Like all of that had to happen for me to see you in a live stream and then be like, oh, who's this guy? And now like you're one of my besties.
hmm
So
Well,
it's all crazy.
this was the very first Taylor Swift song I did. I used it with Scream 3. I said that I have Scream 3 and I have an invisible string. Ridiculous. I'm such a ridiculous
But
person.
no, it's not ridiculous. It's just pretty.
All right. So next up is Mad Woman from Folklore or Long Story Short from Evermore. This one is tough for me because Mad Woman was like one of my first favorite Taylor Swift songs during like whenever I was becoming a Swiftie. It very much captures my feminism in a way, but I'm going Long Story Short. I think like there's so much. I love the closure of this song. I love that there's this idea of like powering through something bad. But also, one of my favorite lines is that your nemesis will defeat themselves before you get the chance to swing. Thank you, Taylor Allison Swift, for saving me thousands of dollars in therapy. So, Ash, what about you?
I think I'm also picking long story short. If you haven't ever noticed that I'm a little bit of a feminist,
Yeah.
I am one. And I love the song Mad Woman. I was the girl who refused to watch The Little Mermaid because I was upset that he didn't become a mermaid and that she had to become a person. And I was like, that seems unfair. And my mom was like, welcome to the world, kid. But Mad Woman, I love it. I think it's an important song. But if I'm like going off of like which out of these two I would rather like put on and listen to, like, and long story short, it's a really good driving song.
Well, I like that. It's long too, I feel like, right? I don't know. There's mine. Okay.
Yes.
So, all right. So next up, this one's easy for me. Well, I wonder what you think. I could see you liking both. So we have Epiphany from Folklore or Marjorie from Evermore. What say you?
Easiest one so far, Marjorie.
Yeah, me too. It's a beautiful song.
I should have asked you questions. I should have asked you how to be.
Yeah.
Had you read what I wish you would have wrote it down for me. Like, that's not the lyric, but and just like how she describes grief and also like the amount of time she cried while performing this song is just so beautiful. And to it, like I don't know if we've ever done Marjorie, but she also includes her grandma's vocals in this song. Her grandma was a very popular opera singer, and she just like it's just so beautiful to be able to do that. And I love this song. And also Epiphany is not one of my favorites, but it's also a hard it's a hard listen. I feel like out of all of these albums, like this is the hardest listen. And like there's a lot to do with like doctors and war and just what it's like to be put in a position where pretty much like your job or your duty is to put your life on the line to help others and how traumatic that can be. And Marjorie is a also kind of song like sad song, but it's like in a beautiful way, whereas Epiphany just feels really heavy to me. Like especially after going through the pandemic, like that song just like it's just too much. But beautiful, but Marjorie has a happiness to it. Like a remembrance, like remembering the person that you lost and being like realizing that they're still there with you no matter what, like you always have them with you is a good message.
What died didn't stay dead. You're alive in my head. We will be doing that song when we do a Get Weathers episode about Dewey. So just for, I know.
No.
Okay. Next up, we have Betty from Folklore or Closure from Evermore. And this one's hard for me because I used to be a Betty fan. I used to think it was one of the greatest songs ever just because of the bridge and the end of the last version of the chorus. I've soured on it. Maybe I overplayed it. I don't love it as much as I used to. And we did this amazing episode with Josh and Justine applying the song Closure to Sydney and Gail in July. So I am not an objective arbiter anymore to answer this question. So Ash, what are your thoughts here?
My girl Betty.
Okay.
I love that. I would name my kid Betty.
You know, I need to stop romanticizing that moment we had with Josh and Justine. I'll also go Betty. I think it's objectively the better song, and let's give Folklore some love.
I love Closure too, and I think it's a really good message. Always, I have like a very like I picture a very specific person who she wrote this song about, and I get like cathartic, like it feels like cathartic for me in a weird way. But I love Betty. The first time I heard it, it didn't. I was like, oh, that's fun. But I love having a song from the perspective of a 17-year-old boy. There's something really sweet about it. I've never been a 17-year-old boy, but I love how he's like, I really fucked up, but I don't know what to do. And it's just like this sweet, it just has like a really cute sweetness to it. And it's just a fun song.
The ending of like how triumphant it is, like there's a happy ending. It's great. So yeah, Betty, I'll give it. But I love Closure. I think it gets too much hate. I love the message of it. I love the different message about closure than what we usually get from songs like, oh, be the better person, be the bigger person. It's like, no, I don't need this. I don't need your closure. So okay, next up we have Peace from Folklore, and we have Evermore from Evermore. So this one could be tough too for you. I don't know. It's easy for me. I love both of these songs, but one is like an obsession of mine. So what say you?
Wow.
Yeah.
These are two songs that I really like, but they're not like in like the high list of like my favorites on both of these albums. But I will tell you, when I went to the Eras tour and I was in Scotland, there was this girl in front of me. I mean, young, like a woman, like about my age, I think. And she kept yelling, please sing Peace. And she was getting more and more drunk as the night went on. And it was just making me crack up. And I do love Evermore, but I think Peace is one of the most beautiful songs in the history of the world. When I really think about it, it's Peace for me.
I love Peace. I think that it actually sums up her relationship with Joe Alwyn beautifully. I think like it sounds beautiful. But for me, Evermore is a song that I know this is going to sound like such an exaggeration, kind of like Ashley earlier saying, shoot me. I feel like the song Evermore changed my life in a way. I think that like the idea, we're not even going to go there. We're going to do it. We're going to do Evermore as a song and in a coming soon episode. So we'll save it for them. But Evermore for me, I went through a big change in my life of what the trajectory of what I thought my life would be to what it is, and like I'm so happy with what it is. It's like the road not taken looks real good now, to quote "'Tis the Damn Season." And like whenever the fever broke of something that I wasn't happy in, and then I was like, ooh, wow, this is Evermore. I was down since July, and now this pain wouldn't be forevermore, and it's just like, oh wow, this is just so. And so now we're down to the last two. Okay, so Hoax from Folklore versus Right Where You Left Me from Evermore. And this is one I would tie. This is probably the single hardest one for me to choose because I love Hoax. I think the coldness of it, the sadness of it. I was listening to it today and it's so painful. It's almost like it's like a different version of Tolerate It. I think it's her being so honest about her relationship with Joe Alwyn. I really, really like Hoax. But as I described earlier, November kind of unlocked me and this obsession I now have with Right Where You Left Me. I think it's both emotionally so honest and so well described, but then also it tells such an interesting story and uses such cool imagery. It's one of my top 10 favorite songs now. So I guess it's not that hard. I'm going with right where you left me. Ash.
Like, I can't even think about what hope sounds like right now.
Your love's
That's
the only hoax
okay, yes. My
I
brain's
believe
like,
in.
I was like, why can't like, I was like, like I was like going through the file folders of my brain and I was just like, why is my brain not connecting? That's embarrassing. But obviously it's right where you left me because I can sing that in my head all the time. But again, I like hoax. Doesn't sound like it, but I do. But right where you left me is a fun. It's a good song. I love it.
Well, and like it's like for a while I didn't really think about it because of the production. The production was kind of a turnoff for me, but the production I've found is part of the charm because it kind of goes back to her roots in a way of like the Speak Now Red era in a way. I nothing but good things about Right Where You Left Me from Ryan C. Showers, top 10 of all time. So, okay, now to end, we have The Lakes from Folklore versus It's Time to Go from Evermore. So, Ash, what say you?
For me, it's the lake.
Okay, me too. Yeah. I like It's Time to Go. Every time I listen to it, I think that like I find a new line in there where it kind of hits me deep. But The Lakes, how would you describe The Lakes?
To me, the lakes is like a poem come to life. It's oh gosh. Like when I think of the lakes, like I have like vivid imagery in my head of like two people writing in a cabin that overlooks lakes, and then they're like a montage of their life throughout pictures. I don't know. I think of images, so that's what I picture. And it's literally like I think it's like kind of like it's like a poem came to life, not like a song, but like this this love, like a love letter in a way, but also like not. I don't know how to describe it. It's just so beautiful. And as somebody who lives in a country with a hell of a lot of lakes, people don't know that, but Canada has a lot of lakes. I just love it.
All right. Well, so and the thing I like about The Lakes is it reminds me of Virginia Woolf. So speaking of the poetry,
Mhm.
the idea of a writer, Nicole Kidman played her in a movie called The Hours, and she's one of my favorite writers. I've read her books. She actually has a book called The Lakes. So I think of Virginia Woolf every time, just because it's about like it's about muses. It's about like deep. I can picture a very deep like poet, intellectual going somewhere to write like that. So I agree. Okay, so Ash, which do you think you came out with more?
Oh God, I don't know. Folklore.
So I'll say mine first, just to build up the suspense. So there are 17 songs here. Yeah. So I had 10 for Evermore, 7 for Folklore. So obviously, I'm bent in one way. You are closer though. So you're 8 and 9.
Makes sense.
You actually do also edge out with Evermore here. So
Oh, okay. I was like, God, I don't even know.
well, Ash,
But
that was fun. Oh my God.
that was so fun. I know. I haven't thought about like putting those songs up against each other. We should do it for um 1989 and one of your favorites, and it will just be a blowout.
Red versus 1989.
It wouldn't even make sense to be like, what?
Ash, thank you so much for celebrating Taylor Swift's birthday with me. I can't wait
Oh,
to
my
do.
favorite day.
Yes, we love 13. But I'm excited to do all of the Taylor Swift stuff with you leading up to Scream 7. We have all the songs picked out. And I hope everybody enjoys the docuseries that we're getting for the Eras Tour. And, 2026, whatever Taylor brings us. Ash, please tell everybody where they can find you online.
Yeah, you can find me at Squirrel and Spud 9 on Instagram. There you'll find my Etsy shop and the weird inside of my brain where you can see all of my posts. But you can also find the Scream Game of the Week that Ryan and I make every Wednesday. We have so much fun with it. So please participate and always comment because I love to hear your thoughts. And I love Taylor Swift, if you didn't know already.
All right. Well, thank you, Ashley. And happy birthday, Taylor.
Yes, happy birthday, Queen, our goddess, our savior, the light of my life.
Our poet and, again, our therapist. So.
All copyrighted material used or referenced in this show belong to their rightful owners and made possible by the Fair Use Act.
And number 3, never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
Get another beer, you want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back!